Hey everybody, this is Charles Morgan from Comic Week, and before we get to what is that doing there? Is that a CGC 9.4 Iron Man? Oh, it is. What are you doing up here in this tree? Well, this is our giveaway comic for this week. Somehow it got up there. This is an Iron Man number 97 from April 1977. We're going to give this away to a lucky Comic Week contest entrant. You can go to our page at comicweek.com/contest/ to have a chance to win it. Looks like the birds want this one. Also, thank you very much. We're at 115 subscribers on our Comic Week YouTube channel. We would like to get that up to 150 by the time we do our next giveaway. If we do that, 150, I will give away a super cool comic. Now, we got great comics lined up from now until Halloween, but I will reach into our grab bag of goodies and bring the best one that I have on reserve, and I'll put it up to give away next week if you guys can get me 35 more subscribers. To do that, I'll need your help. I'll need you to share this video, like it, and tell your friends all about it. Again, 150 is what I'm looking for to give away something really great. So let's go back into Alpha and see what's available this week for New Comic Book Day. Hey everybody, this is Charles Morgan from Comic Week. We're back at Alpha Comics after a week hiatus, and I'm with Norman Krummenacher from Alpha Comics, also a Comic Week reviewer. How are you doing, Norman?
I'm doing well. How are you, Charles?
Did you miss us?
I did miss you guys, but I liked the video, the remote you guys sent us. I mean, that's cool.
Well, we were super busy in the last week. We were in Chicago, where I actually scored a bunch of indie comics real cheap. But it's New Comic Book Day, and we are here to see what's coming out this week, and there's a lot of stuff that you might want to buy if you have money and like comic books.
Those are both things that can induce you to come here tomorrow for some good stuff.
What are you reading?
So I'm excited for this PSYCHOLIST. There are certain things come out, and when I see the solicitation, I'm like, okay, I want Radio Blackout on that, because that's probably going to be something I'm into. This is one of the first ones, and same with Pretty Violent. I mean, this speaks to me.
So this is sort of, I look at it and it's like blood and gore with a little bit of a cutesy vibe.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And that makes me very happy.
So I curse the fact that this is the last issue of Pearl. I've loved Pearl from the beginning. This is initially intended to be a 6-issue miniseries. It has been extended to 12 issues. Michael Gaydos and Brian Michael Bendis. This is basically the flagship Jinx World title from this run with DC, and they say they may come back after their next project. As you know, Pearl's been optioned by Mandalay Films, so Mandeville Films. So remains to be seen whether or not that turns into something. But this is the end of the road for Pearl. I look forward to reading it again when I get home. I've already read it. Just wall-to-wall action, violence, grenades being thrown. Things that you would expect in a crime drama. Also, after a few months hiatus, one of my favorite comics is Savage Dragon, which apparently only about 3,500 people read, according to Comic-Con numbers. You guys got about 5 or 6 copies, though?
That's good. Yeah. We have a percentage of that 3,500.
Yeah, thanks for supporting the cause. I love Malcolm Dragon. I love his wife, Maxine. I love the story between the two. And it's in a new story arc, so we get to see the Bay Guardian, which is the new San Francisco superhero who debuts in this. Eric Larson asked his fans on Twitter to kind of help him with the name. So there's a lot of action, a lot of slice of life from a superhero standpoint stuff going on. So I look forward to getting this in my box tomorrow.
Delightful.
And this. So I've been down on the way Transformers has been handled by IDW in the last 6 months, but they put out this Transformers 84 one-shot. It's issue 0. This is supposed to be the action that precedes the first issue of Transformers, which was published by Marvel back in the day. So in flipping through this title, you will see that this looks like what Transformers should look like. It's beautiful. It has that sort of retro 80s vibe, but printed with modern technology and a full panoply of colors. And I'm very excited about this. I have no doubt whatsoever I will like this much, much better than the ongoing, which should be something that IDW takes note of, and hopefully they learn that this is actually what the fans want to read.
Yep. It's, printed uphill both ways in the snow when we were young, and it's nice to have some of that back. I don't know, I got really hyped for it too. I mean, it immediately evokes and pulls you to that era, to those critters, all of them. It pulls you back to all of them, each and every one of them. Other C words as well.
Well, think about it. I mean, the whole point of G.I. Joe and Transformer comics was to sell toys.
Yeah.
And,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And when you're reading them, you want to recognize the toys and the new continuity. Half the time, I don't even know who they are. They've got like 4 or 5 artists per issue. The styles are completely disparate. The coloring is just off the wall weird. This looks like what it should look like. IDW, good job on this. On the other stuff, come on, get your act together. What do you got?
Canto number 3, numbers 1 and 2, adorable and also real, and we're getting some fist pumps from the audience because we all love this here. We finally got third printing on number 1.
Yeah, third printing on number 1.
Third printing on number 1.
And it took you that long to be able to actually get to read it
took
because
some
it
of us
sells
that long
out.
to get a copy in hand and read it. If you know the story already, great. If you don't, you're gonna fall in love with the little guy. And if you're looking for some bigger story, it might be like cutesy little dude, but the story in here is poignant. It's pretty well told, and it's not all bubblegum. It's really, really not.
Yeah, it's not the sorry Mario princess is in the next castle kind of thing. It's actually a pretty good story.
Yeah.
Speaking of not for kids, Faithless issue number 5. This is a 6-part story from Maria Lovett and Brian Azzarello, who you will know for his own clandestine work for DC, and basically sinking Black Label. This is a mature title that is supposed to be sort of based on the Dante's Inferno, and so is Canto, actually.
So is Canto, yep.
But the interesting thing about it is
they're all Dante's Inferno, all of them.
It grew on me after the first issue, which I wasn't really hot on. But it's a really interesting story, and Maria Lovett's art, it's actually just, it's very unique, idiosyncratic, and she has another series that was just announced today that'll be coming up after this is done. So this, of course, has the retailer unlock variant, which has like basically no trade dress. This is the Paul Pope cover, and then there's the Pervy Wanker cover with the red cover and the poly bag, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people want because you guys ordered quite a few of them.
We do, and if you Google Pervy Wanker cover, you won't find it because it's not listed under that. It's erotic or bagged variant, just so you can find it. Also, Azzarello didn't kill Black Label. Tumblr mentality killed Black Label.
Right.
Just saying.
I was saying, Bruce said everything to be shy about. All right, and then also we have the history of the Marvel Universe, issue number 2, that's coming out. This is a really cool series.
Now I'm picturing that it has to dress up on its own, like it's got a little helmet. Sorry. What were you saying? Yeah, exactly that. History of the Marvel Universe. It's the Marvel Universe. It's a history of it. It's by Wade, I believe. It's interesting. I looked through the first one. I enjoyed it.
We're going to keep all this in.
Okay.
And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy number 8. This is allegedly the death of Rocket Raccoon.
What? No! I mean, no! But everything has to grow, and sometimes for things to grow, they have to die. And I know that we're going to be having this conversation here a lot over the next days and weeks and months. And again, until I see him not be dead in future issues of something, I won't believe that anybody's permanently dead, or same with release dates. When I'm holding one, I'll tell you when the release date actually is.
That's the beautiful thing about comics. Nobody's ever dead in them because of money.
Comics. And, Ed Brubaker, man. All of my heroes are junkies or writers like Ed Brubaker. That's the name of one of his other works you should read. It's just so good. It's just, there's no way to equate this to something else. There are a bunch of writers or other books I can tell you about, but it's just engaging writing. They could be taking a lunch order in there, and I want to read more.
Well, the thing about it is, usually when we look at comic book reviews, one of my criteria is, was it $4 well spent?
Oh, easily.
Right. And this is like a 30-minute television show for $4.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. That absolutely is. No matter how fast you read or how slow or how much you go into the art, or if you're just like me and you just kind of pop word bubbles, which I know that's terrible, but like you've gone somewhere. Even if you only take a few minutes, when you're out of it, time has passed. Absolutely.
Yeah, an interesting thing too about the way Brubaker works on these floppy issues. Usually, he at the end of the issue he'll have like some writing or some added element, maybe a discussion about noir films or things like that. Then, when it comes time for him to put them in the graphic form, he will add panels that he couldn't fit into the floppies, but you don't get. It doesn't retain the stories, the little in issue elements. So it's sort of like you get the director's cut, but you're missing some of the conversation. And it is the floppies which make the hardback graphic novels possible.
Yeah.
So it is really an investment, and you get to have it two ways. And I've really enjoyed everything I've read from that. There's never really been a bad issue. It all ties together. There's a continuity of real world, and it really feels fleshed out.
And to that, there's never been a bad issue. There are things in there that are not like enjoyable in the sense of it, but I'm still enjoying reading it. Even when it's not speaking directly to me, it's still speaking with a voice that I'm in, I'm signed on. Yeah,
the only like sort of visual media analog I can kind of figure that's been out recently, it might have been the first season of True Detective.
Yes.
But that level of writing. But again, this is from the criminal's perspective and not from the detectives.
Just what he said.
Speaking of good writing, usually, here's the Goon. You looking forward to this?
It's so good. It's so damn good.
This is issue number 4 of the new series. Goon number 1, actually, in the back issue market has been selling like crazy lately. So this is one of those series, like whenever something good's happening in the run of it, like you see a lot of interest in the back issues. But yeah, I don't think that this will stick around. This has quite a good cult following.
Absolutely.
Also, this has been a consistently good read for the last year. This is Daredevil, issue number 10. This is, of course, the variant cover. I like it because Elektra's on here getting ready to knock some teeth out of the Daredevil. But yeah, one of my favorite like classic Marvel series has been Daredevil. I mean, it's basically been good since it came out in the 60s. So,
and at the end of the last volume, he, every Daredevil writer kind of hands a real difficult situation onto the next one, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill Daredevil. And so we got that as the sorbet from Daredevil last time for something that has a good flavor,
right?
But a refreshing,
right. I don't hide my feelings for Tom King's run, the Batman. I actually think it's pretty underrated. But here's Batman number 77, which is going to have probably a lot of tongues wagging based on some actions that Bane takes. And so, not to spoil that, if you go anywhere on the internet in the next 24 hours, you are going to be spoiled. But this is a variant cover, which I like. I like a lot better than the regular cover. It came
Agreed.
out. It doesn't have the dopey cardstock thing with $1 extra upcharge. It looks like maybe that experiment might run its course, because I didn't see a single one of those this week.
Oh, yeah.
Is there one?
No, it's still going. The experiment has not finished. The lab is being run now.
Vote with your dollars, folks, but support your local comic book shop. So get them to get the word out that you don't want to pay extra for that stuff. Yeah, actually, he's right. There's one. Well, no, actually, no. That's $4.
I jumped at the wrong spot.
Yeah, but anyway, and also here's a Teen Titans 33 variant cover, which is also really nice.
It is very nice. It is very, very nice.
And what do you got to say about this?
Look, I've been reading the Absolute Carnage books. I'm usually not somebody who jumps on to if it's headed in like fan directions. They've got me. They've absolutely got me on this. It's interesting writing. As opposed to shoehorn conventions pulling things together, this is really just one central thread that is pulling in all these directions, and they have so much history with symbiotes that they can, pull from a ton of directions. And it's playing into there's some other books that have been introducing ideas about the plan of the symbiotes and what's really going on there. And as we're getting, the number ones in this series, it's very interesting that they are answering most of those questions in the number ones and telling us exactly what's going to be happening, or at least why what's happening is happening, as opposed to like the veil of secrets to keep people interested.
Well, I think Absolute Carnage number 1 was a monster comic. It basically won the week. I think it came out last week. I think we had Scream that came out, which actually was really good.
And Separation Anxiety, which was capital D disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the '90s, I always felt like Carnage was the kind of character that Marvel like kind of came up with to capitalize on the popularity of Venom.
Oh yeah.
But in recent this run of these Carnage books, it's really been excellent, and has opened the possibility that we could see a more evolved universe with that character.
Yes.
And also, Silver Surfer Black has been touching on it a little bit too. Yeah.
And that's right. I feel like, as opposed to promoting, here's the new Planet of the Symbiotes, Null God of Symbiotes event, they're using an actual character and the reintroduction of that character as the vehicle for more storytelling, as opposed to inverting that and having to shoehorn in stuff that doesn't fit for that character.
So I was reluctant when this came out last Superman Year One by Frank Miller. I was kind of reluctant to read it. I sat down with it and actually liked it. It felt like Terrence Malick had written it, or it was written in the style of Terrence Malick. There were some of the things with Lana Lane I didn't appreciate. There were some goons in high school who there's a sort of kind of
rape scene, almost rape scene.
Oh yeah, an almost rape scene. And I felt like, like I would rather see Superman fight normal people, have normal adversaries, normal bullying, not taking it to the psychotic level, because I think we want to see the scales of justice tipped in our favor a little bit, right? Like
Yes.
superheroes, but we don't want to see without the superheroes, mankind just tears itself apart, even in high school.
Right.
So with issue 2, we have Frank Miller certainly has the chance to F it all up now that he has Superman as a Navy SEAL. And you flipped through this a little bit. What are your impressions so far?
My reading of the first one was a little different than yours. I think that this is feeding the same things that I saw in the first one, in that he is dealing with psychopaths because we have to put his humanity to its ultimate test to not act as his super-powered self when faced with humans who are not acting human, people who are animalistic. And why wouldn't you just, flick and take their throats out or whatever? You're Superman. Well, keep the man part going. And in this, there are two stories happening. There's the Navy SEALs, and then there's another sea element that I won't ruin for you.
I wasn't expecting that one.
It's him trying to strike a balance. I think that really this is a new origin story, but as opposed to focusing on the mechanics of the yellow sun and kryptonite and why his baby blanket is bulletproof, as opposed to any of that stuff, we're seeing him just mature into the man portion.
Right.
It has me.
And one thing I will say about it, if you think about one of the gripes that maybe I have about Superman, I know I'm not alone, is that what are the natural villains for somebody with that kind of power? Like earthquakes, tornadoes, what I mean, stuff like that.
The human cold.
Right. So in this title though, we do I think get a glimpse at Superman's awakening of his not only his power, but how it fits in his world. And also, if you look at just the basic DC continuity, there comes a point when Superman comes to the understanding that he's not alone with superpowers in his universe. So, this is a 3-part story. This is the middle chapter, the Empire Strikes Back of the Superman Year One story.
Sure.
So we'll see how it develops. We're going to read it and review it for you. But I will say one more thing about it. I think that the art, I've actually liked it a lot. I was not a fan of Batman Damned's art style throughout. It didn't feel like a comic book. It felt like taking a small scale thing and blowing it up like a projector. This is tack sharp art, high quality illustrations, no ads throughout, so you're not going to see the cheese crackers after every other page.
Epic crunch.
Right, you're not going to see that. It's not going to break your concentration. So this is like reading a comic in CinemaScope, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and again, for me, that Azzarello art, that Bermejo, almost Dave McKean-esque, Sandman-y stuff, I really liked that, and I thought that it fit that story's tone well, just like I think this is fitting this story's tone well. I think that that's a marriage that most writers and artists have together. I just think that we are seeing this large format really allow that to be expressed in a greater sense, and also not having, a station break every 3 pages is pretty nice.
Right. Speaking of doing things better than normal, this is the Captain Marvel #1 from the Marvel Action Series that Marvel has teamed up with IDW. This is what a comic book should look like. It's really pretty, nice printing. The comic doesn't ink doesn't deteriorate as you hold it. I really wish Marvel would up the ante on the paper quality, but you know, nothing bad to say about this IDW title. That's the #1 this week.
Antarctic Press. Anything by them I try. Anything by them I try.
Right, so this is Cookie and the Kid, issue 1. It's a nice little black and white deal. It's a fantasy comic. You wouldn't know anything about what happens in this comic by looking at the cover, and that's as close to a spoiler as I will get for you guys. We do have
Ghost Spider, because we needed to do something in between called Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, because why would Gwen be in her name if it's her secret identity? Oh wait, let's release an eponymous series where we remove that by adding something else, and then let's release another #1 where we actually remove that.
Perfect. Speaking of another title.
Things without thought.
Headless #1. So this is a modern day Headless Horseman title from Scout. These Scout titles have just been super popular, these #1s.
Well, and they're just... Scout Comics has sort of a tone to most of their books, but not a theme that they have to follow, and that can be a real relief for a lot of comic readers.
One of the cool things also about this is, like, you know, usually covers don't kind of broadcast what the art quality is going to be inside.
Yes.
This title
actually does.
This title's art is pretty much what you're seeing here.
Yeah.
Another great cover though. This is Deadpool #1. This has everything that you would need on a comic book cover.
And it's an annual, and Deadpool does weird stuff anyway, so when there's a greater chance to talk about the meta conversation around why things are published the way they are, or how Deadpool annual, check it out, you're going to love it.
We got Bad Reception, so this is probably a wedding party gone awry.
Did you hear about the antenna who fell in love and got married? Ceremony was great. Reception was amazing.
Yeah, so so this is a horror title, a new horror title from Aftershock, and that's their specialty. Astral projecting cats. That's a genre.
Straight, man. Which, like,
Bree's like jaw dropping.
Well, and like I feel like, you know, the cat dimension, looking at ghosts behind you, especially when like you got more than one and they sync up. So, you know, maybe this will be some answers.
So you even get your double splash cat page.
It's written by real cats.
Right, written by cats, so you know it's authentic.
For cats.
And
cool
look
cats.
who's jumped into the retro game here.
Some cool cats from back in the day.
So this is a facsimile. I don't know if they're calling it a facsimile edition, but this is Batman 232, Batman with Robin, the Teen Wonder. And this is as printed, except in good quality paper and
advertisements. You know, your facsimile editions. These sell out almost immediately.
Yeah. And before we go, we'd like to thank our peoples on the Comic Book Facebook side. We got Rose Roeder, Anthony Gonzalez, Jarvis Gardner, George McClurg, Jesse Vella, Joe George, Tay Downer, Scott Palachuk, and Terry Powers.
From Alpha side, we got David Scott Lane, Michael Cox, and Joe Green. Thank you all again. I love the comments we get here in the shop, but keep telling us what we can do on the site.
And from our YouTube guys, thanks to Chris Garner for his comments. Miss Megan XOXOX, as always, Just a Rican and his comics. I love signed comics. Terry Quartz, and again, Scott Palachuk. We thank all of you guys for your nice comments and help us get up to 150 subs. And don't forget, you've got a week to enter to win this. So
7 days.
For everybody here at Alpha and for Comic Week, we'll see you next time. Thanks, and happy reading.
And happy trails.